Hello YouTubers, you are watching the Designs to Desire channel, where together we will make this world look more desirable, one design at a time. Let's begin. The way I define logo design is, well, it's a challenging task of combining the right shapes, colors, typography, all together in order to communicate a brand's image, mission, and values. Here's my step-by-step process on how I tackle this exciting challenge of logo design. So step one is research. This may not be the most exciting step, but it's a very crucial, necessary step. So what is research? Why would you have to research if you're a designer? Well, what I mean by research is, like most of my design projects, what I do when I land a client, first step is I schedule a call with them. During that call, it could, maybe if it's not a call, maybe an email. I prefer speaking to them on the phone because you get a feel when they're answering your questions. You get a feel for their tone. I really see value in speaking to them over the phone. But you want to basically, during this meeting with them, you want to ask them questions about their company. Ask them what are their missions, what are their goals, where are they going, where are they headed in the future, maybe where do they see themselves in 5 years. That's going to help you in the design process. What I do is when I have a call with a client and I prepare a list of questions that I'm going to ask them, and I jot down notes. And from those notes, I highlight key phrases. And actually one of my questions that I ask them is, describe your company in 3 words. What are the best adjectives for your company? And then I jot those down, and all the keywords I compile together. So some examples of questions I ask my client are, how would you describe your organization? Or what are the long-term goals? If they currently have a logo and you're doing a redesign of their current logo, you want to ask why they are looking to rebrand or why they're looking for a new logo. You also might want to ask, what elements of their current design, their current logo, if any, do they like? I actually recently redesigned the logo for an organization, and there were some elements of their current logo that they did like. So that was really important that I asked them that, and that I got that information, so that when I was developing some concepts for their new logo, I kept some similar things, some things that they really did like about their current logo, and tried to incorporate it into the redesign. You also might want to ask them what things they really dislike about it. So you really want to get an understanding of the purpose of this redesign. Other things I ask are about colors. So there might be a color where they really don't want to use, or are color choices up to me, and that's great. Or maybe it's not that you can or cannot use the colors. You might discover what colors they don't like, and you want to discover that too, because that may cause them not to like your logo. If there's a particular logo they personally don't like, I'm not saying that, if they just hate blue just because they hate it and don't have a reason for hating it, but you feel strongly that blue will really help this organization and that's the right choice and color for them, and by all means I say use it, but back it up and tell them the reason why you chose blue, and that will help them to see past the fact, hopefully see past the fact that they don't like blue. During this research step, you want to also discover your client's competitors. Now, during your meeting, ask them about their competitors. Even though you may have researched it or can research it on your own, it's really important. I found it helpful to hear it from them and hear their perspective of it. Your client is the one who knows the industry best. Especially if you're a freelancer and you work for many different industries, you will end up falling upon an industry, I'm sure, that you don't know too much about. So during that meeting with the client, during your briefing with them, I think it's really important that you do bring up the topic of competitors. During this step, you also want to know whether there is a tagline included with the logo. Is there a slogan that they want to include with the logo, or is it just the logo? Also, is there an icon that they want to include with the name? Those are all things you want to know beforehand, before you go on to the next step. It will just save you a lot of time. It's also important to know where the logo is going to be used. It's likely going to be on the website, on business cards, on print materials, but It's good to ask that question. That way you might discover if they need different versions of it. And finally, you want to know what the deadline is. That's very important because especially as a freelancer, you do not want to miss your deadline. Another really important piece of information you want to get is information about their target market. Although companies would love to sell their products to everyone, they target a specific market, a specific demographic. So when designing your logo, you want to keep the target market in mind. You want to keep in mind that this logo and this image that you're creating for the company is primarily going to be communicated to a specific target market or specific demographic of individuals. Another important question that I ask my clients is, what feeling or message do you want to convey through this logo? So you're being clear to them that this logo is communicating to your audience. Now, what feeling, I'll do the design and I'll make those decisions, but tell me what feeling and messages you want to convey through the logo design. So step number 2 is hand sketching various concepts. To the drawing board, literally. Don't worry if you're not an illustrator, if you think your drawing skills are horrendous, not to worry. These concepts are not going to be seen by your client. These are for you to hash out, to just jot down all your ideas and just sketch them out and put them on paper. This is just to get your ideas flowing. During this step, I like to also write out those highlighted keywords that I told you about earlier that I accumulated and compiled during my research step, and I jot them down next to my designs. I think it's really important to just try to come up with a lot of different ideas. You don't want to just have like 1 or 2. Even if you come up with something and you're like, oh, I love this is great. Keep going, because the next one just might be better, and the 10th one might be better, and the 20th one might be better, and the 30th one might be it. So step number 3, digital sketch your best concepts. Now that you have your over 50 ideas and concepts down in your sketchbook, now it's time to choose the best ones. The ones that you want to see digitally and move to the computer and work with them further. So once I have a few solid concepts, I begin designing them in Illustrator. Now it's very important that they are different. Now I would never send, and I do not recommend to send, different variations of a logo. To simplify this, if your logo is a triangle and it's a purple triangle, don't say, oh, concept 1 is a purple triangle and concept 2 is a blue triangle. You want the designs to be different and the concepts to be very different, not just in color, not just in moving something 1 pixel to the right and something else 2 pixels to the left. No, they have to be really different ideas completely. Although I may have different variations of my concepts, I only show the client 1 variation of 3 different concepts. So what I mean by this is that it's important to present to your client 3 different concepts instead of 3 different variations of your design. So step number 4 is very exciting. You're almost done. It's time to present your final design options to your client. So at this point now, you have your final design options that you're going to present to your client. You have different variations of your design that you're going to present to them to choose from. I feel that it's best to present to them in person rather than just emailing it, let's say, where if you just email it, you won't have a chance to explain yourself and explain your design decisions. Versus in person, think of Mad Men, for those of you who watch Mad Men, you present it to the client. Maybe it might not be in a foam core board or in a storyboard form like in Mad Men, on an easel, but it might be on your tablet or on a little printout, but still you present it to them. First of all, you'll see the reaction, something you won't see if you email or maybe call. So you'll see their physical reaction, their emotions, or their facial expressions. And before presenting it, it's a great opportunity to kind of summarize your research findings so that they know that these are all things you kept in mind when coming up with these designs. I always say I do not design to look pretty. I design with purpose. And so showing them that you've done this research, and not only have you done this research, but you kept this in mind and base this on the decisions that you make, and it really validates your design. The worst case that can happen is if they say, why did you do this? Why did you choose this color? Why did you place this here? And you say, I don't know. or because it looked nice. You want to have a reason for all your decisions. It makes you look like you put thought into it. It makes the logo more valuable. Your designs will be more trustworthy. They have purpose. Your design will be more effective. And I always say, I design with purpose, and my designs are effective in terms of meeting the goal that they have to meet. If you're not able to meet with the client in person, that's fine. It's happened to me too, where I tried to meet with them, wasn't possible. I wanted to schedule a call, but they wanted me to email it to them before the call, a day before the call, because they wanted to send it to other people to get their feedback and then speak with me. I decided to send it, but I didn't just send them the JPEGs and hope for the best. I sent it to them in a document, in a PDF document, with my rationale typed out in detail before the page that displayed the logos. So I had a nice cover page, and then what followed was my rationale behind the decisions I made for my logos. So there was a description of the logos before they can even scroll down to viewing the actual design. I also summarized what we discussed in our meeting. So that's where I got the research. So I summarized that, and then I typed out my rationale, and then the next page came the concept. So before viewing the concepts, they read, well, hopefully, unless they just scroll down, but my intentions were that they read about it before, read about my rationale, read about my findings, so they know why I may have made certain decisions before viewing the logos or the design concepts. So I've now gone over with you my 4-step logo design process that I have found that has worked successfully for me. So I really hope that was helpful for you guys. If you have any questions or comments or like anything you'd like to add, please leave them in the comments below. Please subscribe to my channel if you'd like to discover more ways to not only make our world more desirable one design at a time, but also to help your designs and make them that much more desirable. Thank you for watching.